Welcome to The Secret Truth. I'd like to discuss briefly with you a couple of different concepts over the last 2 to 3 decades. And they're concerning this pedophilia outbreak that has occurred recently. And I believe under the name of Pizzagate would be the Washington-based. But we have seen similar outbreaks occur in the 80s, for example. And at that time, there were many ongoing prosecutions of pedophile cases based primarily on daycare centers throughout, some in Ohio and then others out in California. And what we're seeing at that time in the 80s was the defendants in these cases needed some kind of a foundation for a defense and something to rest their hat on, to hook their hat on. And they came up, their attorneys and other people and affiliates and supporters of theirs came up with the idea that maybe, just maybe, these children were not telling the truth about these events of abuse. They started characterizing this as under the terms, using the terms false memory. They even at that time created a false memory idea of syndrome, they called it, and also a false memory foundation. Since that time in the 80s, there have been many in-depth studies that have refuted totally that concept. Okay, that was in the 80s and so forth. Now, fast forward to today in 2016, 2017. There is similar defenses that are being offered now, or deflections or obfuscation of the truth and the allegations concerning Pizzagate. And what they revolve around are the ideas of false news or false media. The very alternative media broadcasters that have been hitting the hardest in trying to uncover and expose the Pizzagate problems, not only in Washington, revolving around that pizza shop, but across the nation, are being categorized as false news or false media. This is being done so that the pedophile community can escape the scrutiny and the very, very focused scrutiny that's ongoing. So way back in the 80s, we had a concept of false memory that was used to fend off prosecutions. Today, they're using the pedophile community is using a obfuscation under the name of false news and false media. The Pizzagate and those allegations are true. There have been previous allegations of pedophilia and so forth in Belgium that went to the top of the government and to the monarchy. There are cases in England with Jimmy Savile and so forth. So this is not an isolated case just in America. The pedophile problems are worldwide. They exist within or nested inside of the top politicos and money people in the world. And so as a result, this is sort of their initiation of their fellow criminals into this kind of activity and child pornography and so forth. But there have been cases like the Franklin cover-up out in Nebraska before, and many cases throughout the country. You just have to dig down into that and do some research. But this is George Butler bringing you a little bit of an insight into false memory and this obfuscation is what I would call it, called false news and false media. Those alternative news outlets are trying to get to the truth of the matter of this pedophilia recent outbreak. It is not just it does not just come and go. It has been here for decades, if not for centuries. Yeah, the Pedernaski was the name that they used way back in London a century ago or more. So look into this, check it out, do some research, and let's try to out this problem, and let's try to protect our children. Our children are our future, and we need to take care of them. And we have to be like guardian angels. If we don't have any children like myself, I consider myself a guardian angel for our children, like a protector of the children. Anyway, thank you for listening this evening and viewing this short update. But we'll have more of these in the coming days. Thank you very much for viewing this commentary. Good night.